Being an international student is quite hard. We face trials and tribulations, things don't often go right, we're away from home, we miss our family and friends, everything seems different, and I was in this situation, or to be honest, I still am. But in this video, I'm going to share a few tips and tricks that helped me overcome these situations. So without further ado, let's get into it. The first one would be missing family, friends, complaining about the weather, complaining about the food. Now, personally, for me, I lived most of my life in Dubai, so I was used to the sun, the scorching heat constantly bearing down on me, and to come here and suddenly be in this very gloomy, sort of dull weather was honestly very difficult. But then I sort of thought to myself, this is a controllable variable. It's something that I myself have chosen, and we can't complain about this. As in, it's alright to miss people, that's normal. I'm not telling you to be inhumane. But when you miss someone, you call your parents or maybe you call a few friends, have a catch up, and then back to work. You can't use that as an excuse to be dull, to become depressed, and stop functioning. Think of it this way. Imagine you're a diver. You jump into the bottom of the ocean for what? To get pearls. You know it's going to be uncomfortable. You know it's going to be difficult. But imagine if you were such a diver and then you jumped in and you're like, this is quite uncomfortable, I'd rather prefer to be on land. Of course you would, but you went in with a goal. In this analogy, it's to get pearls. But you, as an international student, started from zero, packed your bags and moved to a completely different country to accomplish something, to do something for yourself, to become someone. And that's what you have to keep on remembering whenever you have feelings like this that come into your mind. The second thing I really struggled with was the marking criteria, the way things were taught, the way the exam was assessed, just in general, the curriculum and the atmosphere. Now, the thing with this is, initially, I'll share a personal story of mine. Initially, I had studied accounting, but I really wanted to do economics. So I came to the UK as a master's student in economics. And initially, I didn't obviously have the prerequisite level of math, and it seemed quite daunting and intimidating. And obviously, there wasn't a lot of calculations. Most of the way the things were being taught was just on slides, and it was sort of assumed knowledge, which can be sort of intimidating when you don't know it. It defeats the point of it being assumed anymore. But yeah, so that's how it was. And what I did to tackle this was, as students, we have strengths. We have a unique way of learning. To me personally, I was never someone who would go to school or go to class and study or actually absorb in a class. I was someone who used to go to school or used to go to college in order to socialize, chit chat, and talk with my friends. And then when I used to come home, when I used to be by myself, when I could just have the lecture play in front of me, I could write down my own notes and have a think about things. That's when I used to study, and that's how I used to study, and that's how I tackle things. So I wasn't too worried about what was going on in class. I used to come home, listen to the video lecture, and then study at my own pace. Now that was for me personally. But for you, each one of you has a specific learning style. Maybe you're someone who likes to engage in classes. Go to the class. Maybe you're someone who likes to study in a library alone, just your own thoughts. Do that. Maybe you're someone who likes to have a conversation and ask questions, have a rapid back and forth when you're studying. Meet the professor. There is a way out. We cannot use it as an excuse, because it is us who took the decision voluntarily to come to a new country and learn in a new style. Next point, and I've heard quite a bit about this and I might go on a rant, so please forgive me, is part-time jobs. Now, initially, I'll split this into two categories. Initially, when I came here, the first thing that I was doing was I was working as a match steward. Now, I'm in Liverpool and I was a massive Liverpool fan, always have been one. So, just let me get this straight. So, this was my job. Just go stand there, don that high-vis bib, and watch the match. That's it. I was getting paid to watch the match, and you have the odd spectator who's being a bit noisy or rowdy, and you might have to shush them. But that's about it. I could watch live Premier League matches. I was inside Anfield. For me, this was not even work. Best job ever. Even though I'm working now, if I could do that during the weekends, I honestly, trust me, I would. Now, the next type of part-time is the not so fun type of part-time. which involved me waiting on tables, maybe taking orders, maybe sometimes carrying stuff. And yeah, okay, it's not fun. And honestly, I was a bit agitated initially when I came here. I was like, oh, why am I having to do this? Or this is so frustrating. I'm tired when I go home. I don't have the energy to do anything. And just not a pleasant experience. And I'll tell you what got me over this. I just examined one day when I was sitting at home. I was like, what am I complaining about? I'm complaining about the fact that I have to do a job that I'm not too enthusiastic about, that I'm not eager to go to work every day, and I'm doing it to support myself, and I'm doing it to pay the bills. I'm doing it to basically sort of finance myself, which in essence is me complaining about the fact that I'm an adult. I'm working a job that I don't want to do so that I can support myself. I mean, how stupid is that? We're complaining about being a full-fledged adult. To sort of supplement this, the way I grew up initially was that all I had to do was focus on my exams and study. I didn't have to worry about cooking, cleaning, laundry. All those tasks were taken care of by my parents. And I thought that this was the norm until I had sort of an epiphany that this wasn't. It was a luxury at 24 or 25. It's not a luxury, bear in mind, it's not a luxury when you're a kid. When you're in school, to have those, not have to work or just focus on yourself, that's fine. But once you cross a certain age, the fact that we're crying or, having some sort of indignation at the fact that, there's no one to support us and we have to do the basic tasks of being an adult, of looking after yourself, that this is somehow worthy of being, this is somehow complaint worthy, was like, that was the moment I was like, okay, what am I complaining about? I definitely have to pull up my socks and stop complaining about this. Another thing I think why for international students, especially us Indians, there's a lot of stigma associated with part-time is ego. Ego is a huge factor. And you sort of have the mindset that, oh, this task is beneath me. And okay, now I don't think having an ego is particularly a bad thing. But there are two sorts of egos. You have the deserved ego versus the undeserved ego. Let me tell you a little bit about the deserved ego. The deserved ego is really good because you believe in yourself, and examples of deserved ego is people who say outlandish statements, but you can't really complain because they've achieved so much in life. Ronaldo, Conor McGregor, Elon Musk, all of them fall in this category. Then you have the people who have an undeserved ego. The type of friends who just yap and yap and yap, and you don't even have the strength to sort of argue with them and tell them how foolish they are, and you just exchange glances with your other friends like that's all they get. That's all they get. Which one do you want to be? If you have a deserved ego, what you would do is, okay, this is a temporary phase in life. This is not what I want to be doing in life for the rest of my life, but I'm gonna respect this job and I'm gonna do the best I can because this is the job that feeds me. This is a job that allows me to pay my bills. This is the job that basically allows me to live. But whilst I come back, I'm not gonna go to sleep. I'm not gonna just crib. I'm gonna start and I'm gonna work towards landing a full-time job. Or you're gonna be someone who has an undeserved ego, who's gonna complain and crib about part-time jobs and what's the alternative? Just sit at home. Yeah, brilliant solution. So not go to a job, but sit at home and do nothing. Now the last and most important thing, and I've kept this towards the last purposely, is how to land full-time jobs. Now a lot of people say that, oh, there's luck involved and I'm just getting constant rejections. It's that we have to get used to rejections. I applied to 585 jobs, no kidding, 585 jobs before I finally landed one. And the ironic thing was, the one I landed was the one in which the recruiter messaged me and then I gave the test and then interview whatsoever, and I landed the job eventually. And the thing is luck involved? Yes, of course it is. But what you don't see is the 585 rejections that I've gone through so that I understand what the skills are, what recruiters are looking for, how to answer questions. It's the 585 rejections that made me land the one thing in the end. Now you can crib and cry about the fact and say that I was lucky, which I will admit I was lucky. like, think of it this way. Now that the IPL is going on, I'll give you a cricket analogy. Imagine that you're a batsman. You're going to get some unplayable deliveries, some balls that you can't do anything about. You're just going to have to be like, nothing can be done about those, and treat those as the rejections. You can't do anything about them. But there's going to be one juicy full toss that you're going to have to hit out of the park, and that is the luck component. But you're only going to get that if you have the grit and you fortify your mind to stay at the crease for that long. If you're not lucky, just think of it this way: you haven't been there long enough for luck to favor you. Now, I apologize if this video was a bit fiery in nature. I don't usually talk like this, but every year there's hordes and hordes of international students going to various destinations, and if I could help just one of you in not making the same mistakes that I did, or falling into this negatively trap, then I'd consider that a job well done for me. So as always, see you on the other side.